Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are breaking down an absolute thriller from round 18 of the AFL season, the Western Bulldogs taking on the West Coast Eagles. If you were following the broadcast, you know it was chaotic, highly fragmented, and absolutely relentless from siren to siren. So we've taken all that fast-paced action, sifted through the noise, and distilled it right here so we can unpack exactly how this dramatic 8-point thriller actually unfolded.
There's nothing he can't do. He is off the charts. Man, what a way to set the stage. This quote from the broadcast captures the sheer electricity that was literally humming through the stadium. But who exactly is this young superstar that had the commentators completely losing their minds? Well, as we'll see, this game was largely defined by a breakout performance that threw the match into absolute overdrive from the very first bounce.
Okay, let's dive into this. Chapter 1. The Eagles' Perfect Start. To really make sense of that final siren, we gotta understand the sheer momentum of the opening sequence. The West Coast Eagles came out swinging away from home, stunning the crowd by seizing the narrative before the Bulldogs even knew it hit them. Right at minute 1, the pressure's on. There's a tough early contest, the crowd is screaming for a free kick, but the umpire just says, "Keep going, boys." And that non-call, it sets a frantic tone. By minute 3, Graham delivers an absolute sizzler inside 50 directly to Shanahan. And then, by minute 5, Shanahan finishes it off with a delightful goal. It was the absolute perfect start for the Eagles, built entirely on incredible work rate and flawless execution. But look, you just don't keep the Bulldogs down easily on their home turf. They immediately scrambled to fire right back. Bobby Plow launches a brilliant kick to Croft, who plays on, maybe making it a bit harder for himself, but keeping that pressure dialed up. The ball gets forced down, Kelly and West do the hard work, floating it towards Aaron Norton. And Norton? He does exactly what he does best, sneaking a quick goal just over the back to immediately equalize the tension early on in the piece. Which brings us to Chapter 2, Clash of the Superstars. Now, what's really interesting about this comparison is how it perfectly frames the generational battle that completely dictated the momentum of the game. On one side, you've got Harley Reid, the young superstar, bringing relentless energy and explosive power. On the other side, Marcus Bontempelli, the all-time great, the veteran who has seen it all and controls the game like a maestro. This matchup right here was the absolute engine room of the entire match. And they didn't waste a second getting acquainted. In what we'll call round 1 of this heavyweight bout, Bontempelli gets the ball, but before he can even blink, he is caught by Harley Reid. The young superstar completely brings down the veteran in a massive, unyielding tackle. It was a huge physical statement from the kid, sending a clear message that he wasn't going to be intimidated by Premiership experience. But hey, you don't tackle a legend without expecting a receipt. In round 2, the veteran retaliates. After Reid attempts a "don't argue" on Bontempelli, Bontempelli gets him back with a trip that goes completely uncalled by the umpires. Can you actually believe that? The battle spills right into the next stoppage, where Bontempelli makes sure to have a few very choice words with the youngster. Basically a "not this time, son." The tension between these two titans was absolutely radiating off the pitch. Moving on to Chapter 3, Primetime Hang Time. As this personal battle raged in the midfield, the game suddenly cracked wide open, turning into a curated, high-flying highlight reel. And the efficiency driving it was staggering. Just look at this number, 12.3. Ed Richards boasted an ultra-accurate season tally of 12 goals to just 3 behinds leading up to this point. When he got the ball from Rory, he nailed it again, proving just how lethal and hyper-efficient the finishing was becoming in this fast-paced shootout. But that finishing wasn't just accurate, it was incredibly hard-earned. As the broadcast beautifully noted, inspiration never comes to the lazy. This was directed at Shanahan, who took a brilliant double leg mark in the pocket. I mean, he worked his backside off, running end-to-end to get the reward inside 50. It was pure, unadulterated hustle. And the hustle just kept coming. A central kick floats right into the danger zone. Jack Williams gets a flying shot at it. He rips the ball straight out of the air and absolutely nails the goal. And you better believe he brought the celebration to go with it. The crowd is going wild. The pace is absolutely frantic. But wait, no way, it doesn't stop there. The ball bubbles away and Liam Duggan comes flying in to take an absolute screamer. Like the commentators yelled, that is some prime-time hang time. Players are literally launching themselves into the stratosphere to keep this offensive onslaught alive. And Harley Reid just kept going. On the run, he kicks it straight from the deck and drills it. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly why Reid is off the charts. That explosive sequence capped off a massive surge, suddenly putting the Eagles up by 14 points. They were flying high and looking incredibly dangerous. But of course, it couldn't last forever. Chapter 4. The physical toll. All that soaring through the air, yeah, it comes at a cost. The higher you fly, the harder you land. And the list of sacrifices was growing by the minute. You had Strakovic putting his head down and taking brutal contact despite a history of concussion issues. Bailey Williams trying to push through a hamstring return, visibly struggling to find his footing. And right in the middle of the ground, players were being caught in brutal, crushing sandwich tackles, just fighting for every single clearance. It's a tough reminder of what it actually takes to maintain momentum in the AFL. The most dramatic of these moments involved Milan Murdoch. During one of those aggressive, heavy sandwich contests going against the grain, Murdoch reached back to try and secure the ball. As he emerged from the crush of bodies, he was immediately seen clutching his shoulder. He had to be rushed straight to the bench in obvious, agonizing pain. The broadcast team caught the severity of it instantly. Looks like it could be out. I reckon he popped it. It's a sobering reminder, amidst all the cheers and the flashy highlight reels, these athletes are putting their bodies through absolute carnage to secure 4 points for their team. Let's move to Chapter 5, Cometh the Man, Cometh the Dogs, and see how this builds into our final momentum shift. With players battered and the Eagles holding a tight lead, the Western Bulldogs had to dig deeper than they had all afternoon. Cometh the hour, cometh the man. Those were the exact words from the commentary box as Marcus Bontempelli decided enough was simply enough. Taking the ball out of the air, stripping it, orchestrating the plays, it was suddenly Bont time. He took absolute control of the midfield, using every ounce of his veteran experience to drag his team right back into the contest. And on the receiving end of all that masterful midfield work was Aaron Norton. He booted a massive 5 goals in what was undeniably one of the absolute best games of his entire career. When his team desperately needed a target, he became an unstoppable force. So, let's piece this chaotic final surge together. At minute 72, Bontempelli executes a super clutch fend-off and goes right down the middle to set up the attack. By minute 76, Norton gets under a crossed kick and boots his 5th goal, giving the Dogs a crucial 8-point lead. And finally, at minute 79, the Eagles have one last gasp. Brandel floats it to Shanahan, but under immense pressure, he drops the crucial mark, and the moment is gone. The stadium erupts in a massive roar as the Bulldogs secure an incredible, hard-fought 8-point victory. It was a game that seriously had absolutely everything, and it showed us exactly why this regular season clash has massive implications for the rest of the year. We saw a young phenomenon in Harley Reid prove he is off the charts. And we saw legendary veterans like Bontempelli and Norton stand tall when the game was on the line. Which leaves us with this final thought. With young stars rising so rapidly and seasoned legends fiercely holding their ground, who do you think will truly dominate when September arrives and the finals begin? Thanks for joining me for this breakdown, and I'll catch you on the next explainer.